Zoomed in. Zoom out. Okay. I need just a second. Okay. I need just a second to finish setting up. It's hot in here. I got too many devices going on at one time. I know I haven't got there yet. You're gonna have to bear with me though. Okay. Lord, I can't wait for my glasses. I can't wait for my glasses to come in so I can see what I'm doing. There it is. I got it. Okay. I hope that music in the background is too loud. I'm sure when I start talking, it'll balance out. Okay, I had to give it a second. Now I can hear the music in the background when it's loud. All right, this is gonna be interesting. This water is really, really good. Or I can't spell because I can't see. That in this computer is kind of slow. I'm not crazy about this angle. I need to get something that I can attach to the top, like a thing, like a grappling, not a grappling hook, but you know. Okay, this is gonna be a good one though. This is gonna be a good one. I don't know why I thought it would be easy as just, oh, there it is. Nope. Did not think this all the way through. I really didn't though, did I? Okay, let's say, oh Lord, excuse me. I'm hoping I'm spelling this word correctly. Okay. All right, I think I'm ready. Let's dive into it. Whoops, that wasn't supposed to happen. Lord, I was ready. I was ready to do it. And now I gotta do it again. Okay, now I'm ready. Now we can get started. Let's do this before anything else bad happens. Oh, Lord. don't know why that matters. I really don't know why that matters, but okay. My face is itching, but I can't scratch it. Okay. Coming to you live from Music City, USA, aka Nashville, Tennessee. This is the ALLAnal podcast with Sebastian Starr. I'm your host, Sebastian Starr. And this morning I wanted to talk a little bit about Chris Brown. I know that I've discussed him before in the past, and it's always been very briefly in the past. It's never been something that was consistent. And that's not for any particular reason. It's not because I have a vendetta or anything like that. It's just because I haven't really gotten around to talking to him about it. I feel like Chris Brown, for me, is in the same realm of, okay, I get it, but I also don't get it, if that makes sense. But this isn't me trying to talk smackety smack about nobody who is a Chris Brown fan. I'm not like a diehard, devoted Chris Brown fan, if that makes sense. Don't get me wrong, I am a fan. I've been to his shows, I've seen him perform live, I've listened to his music, and, I keep up with him pop culturally enough to understand, the hype and the things around him. But I'm not here waiting for the next Chris Brown album to drop. But that's neither here nor there. I will say that I came across his latest single, Residuals, on the radio, and I wasn't immediately crazy about it. What piqued my interest, though, was the Residuals challenge that people started doing all over the internet. So before we get into that, I do want to get into the actual song itself. So the song Residuals came out last year. It's off of his 11/11 album, which, by the way, he has 14 albums over the span of a 20-year career. I don't know too many artists who are that consistent with making albums year after year on a back-to-back basis, going on tour, promoting themselves, and then he also does like movies in between all that, movies, TV shows, whatever. He's a busy guy. He stays very, very busy. He's very, very active, and he's doing things to keep his image. Well, that's poor wording. He's doing things to keep his career alive and well. And he does that very, very well. The 14 albums is absolutely insane, but I digress. So let's just dive into the lyrics of this song, Residuals, really, really quickly. The music, the vocals, all of that is top tier, peak perfection, 100%. Everything about it was great. I'm not surprised. Everybody knows Chris Brown can sing. Everybody knows Chris Brown is a great performer. Everybody knows that he's very passionate, very dedicated when it comes to his music and how he pursues it and what he does to kind of incorporate his own character into everything that he does, which kind of threw me when I first heard this song, because I was like, what are you talking about? So the first verse of the song Residuals, and then once again, this is powered by genius.com. This isn't sponsored. I'm just using their website to get their lyrics. So if I get the lyrics wrong, don't blame me, blame Genius. The first verse: don't know when my nights became so complicated. Can't recall my mornings ever being this faded. Maybe this is karma, definition of jaded. This stays on my mind, this stays on my mind. Trying to put a muzzle on my crazy feelings. 1 minute I'm cool, then the next I'm tripping. With somebody new, I swear she don't deserve this. Wasted on my mind, she's still on my mind. That's pretty deep when you find yourself in a position where you just wake up one day and you're just like, man, how did I get here? Who is this person that I have to interact with every day? And not the significant other physical body in your bed with you, but the person that you see when you look into the mirror. And I know that's a little corny, that's a little cliche, but again, 20 years in the music industry, 14 albums, countless scandals, constantly having to be told that you're this type of person and you're that type of person and you're dirty, low down, crazy, angry, you're this, you're that. That wears and tears on a person's psyche, their mental health, their emotional health, their emotional well-being, eventually eats away at you. And this isn't me to advocate or to vouch for the behaviors that Chris Brown has done or anything like that. This is merely just to give you an idea of where maybe he's coming from with this particular verse. Again, I'm just analyzing the lyrics. The pre-chorus goes, did we build it up just to let it wash away? Tell me, did I lace you up just to watch you run away? Now that I feel like is a double entendre. which lace up, run away, lacing up your shoes, and then running, obviously. But then lace is also like a term used when you spike somebody's drink or you give them a drug without their knowledge. You know, you lace their blunt, you lace their joint, you lace their drinks with something just to have you crash out on me. You know what I mean? It's kind of it's a double entendre is what I'm getting at. And then did we build it up just to let it wash away? Did we get to a certain point within our lives with each other just to have everything kind of crumble once things got too heavy? Right. And then the chorus, which this is the only part that really blew me because I didn't get it. So he says in the chorus, tell me who's getting all of my love, who's getting all of my love. Tell me who's getting all of my time. All of that used to be mine. Who did you teach what I taught you? Better not give him my nickname. Better not give him my nickname. I don't like thinking about it. I swear that it's wearing me down. But tell me who's getting all of mine? Who's getting all of my residuals? Now, obviously, when I first heard this, and I thought of the literal definition of the word residual. A residual is a type of reward or bonus that you get for putting out a body of work. So a residual as an artist is like royalties or something like that. You collect that over time after a certain body of work has been put out. But I think that what it's being used for in this case is you and I have spent a certain amount of time together to the point where I feel like we belong to each other. You belong to me and I belong to you. With that being the case, we have crossed paths in a sense that you have learned and taken from me. I have learned and taken from you. There are some qualities, some characteristics, some physical, mental, emotional things that we have transacted between one another that has either better or worsened us as individuals. So now that we're divided, you take what you got from me, what you've learned from me, what you've built up and gained from me, and now you're using that on somebody else. Now you're taking what I taught you and teaching it to somebody else, and now they're getting boosted. They're getting better. They're getting the royalties that I earned, that I deserve from you. You're giving it to them. And it's just like, what are we doing? How is this okay? In what universe are you allowing yourself to be like, oh, well, this is just what it's going to be now, so I'm just going to do. Like, what? So you expect me to be okay with you taking what's mine, what I gave you, what I earned, what I deserved, and giving it to somebody else? So that makes it make a little bit more sense to me. Let's move on to the second verse. He says, make it clear you didn't want to see the sequel. I was lying when I said the feeling's mutual. It took some time to realize that we're different people, and love is blind. I see love is blind. Now, he goes back into the pre-chorus. I'm not going to bother getting into that, but let's dive into that second verse very quickly. Made it clear you didn't want to see the sequel, so you didn't want this to continue. You came to a conclusion on your own that said, you know what, Chris, this isn't going to work out. I'm sorry. I've done my best with you, Chris. I've tried really, really hard to make this work, to make it make sense, to make things right with you. And it's just not doing it for me. I'm sorry. But I'm done. You know what I mean? Like, I'm through. I'm done with it. I don't care about what happens between you and I tomorrow, next week, next month, next year. I don't give a damn. Let's just call the whole thing off. Ella Fitzgerald style, right? He says, I was lying when I said the feeling was mutual. So he's like, oh, okay, you wanna break up? Let's just break up then. We just gonna be done. We're gonna be donezo. We're gonna be finito. If that's what you want, if that's how you feel, I love you. I'm not gonna hold you back. I'm gonna let you do your own thing. Internally, I'm like, no. You know what I mean? I'm desperately pleading for you to change your mind, to make an exception, to try to do anything. It's over with. It's done with. It's donezo. Okay, I understand. Let's keep it pushing. He goes on to say, it took some time to realize that we were different people. So obviously we're on two different wavelengths. Yes, we may have built something together. We may have grown a little bit together. We may have come together at some point. Sure. What does that mean as far as us as individuals? The compatibility is just off. It's just not there. We're not connecting the way that we should. And love is blind. I see love is blind. I don't care that we're not compatible. I don't care that we don't mush and blend and mix and come together the way that we're supposed to. None of that matters to me. Why? Because I love you. That's stupid. That's stupid, but that's how some people think. And it is what it is. So again, he goes into the pre-chorus again. Did we build it up just to let it wash away? And tell me, did I lace you up just to watch you run away? Now, looking back at the pre-chorus after the second verse, realizing what he's going for and what he's kind of talking about, you can argue now that the line, did I lace you up just to watch you run away, is did I put you on a pedestal or give you a position of power that you felt you could take what you wanted from me and just dip off with it? Did I allow you to become so full of yourself, not in a condescending way, but in a confidential way, or a confident way, not confidential, that you felt like it was okay to just leave me, you know what I mean, unexpectedly? And maybe it wasn't unexpected. Maybe it really was based off of some type of, predisposed trigger, or you just allowed something to happen, something that went undiagnosed or unregistered, and anything, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. And we're never going to know for real. So it's not like it's not like it's obvious. If it was obvious, then I would know. I would try to fix it and we would work it out. But since it's not obvious, who the fuck knows? And you're not going to tell me. You're not going to say, oh, well, this is the problem. You're just done. You're completely finished with the arrangement, the relationship with me. And I have to just deal with that. And then it goes back into the chorus, who's getting all of my love, who's getting all of my time, all that used to be mine. Again, I've built this with you over the course of, let's just say, years. This type of attachment doesn't evolve after a couple of weeks, a couple of months. It takes years to find somebody to build up that much rapport with, that now that you've decided that you're done with the relationship and you've taken what you've learned and you're giving that time and energy and love and appreciation and affection and passion to somebody else, obviously, I'm going to feel some type of way about that. So it's like, who are you giving that to? And then here's the other thing. I'm not questioning who's getting it as much as I'm curious as to why them instead of me. Why do they get the opportunity, the privilege to indulge in those royalties with you instead of you just staying with me and making it work? What makes them so much better than me? I'm Chris Brown. You know what I mean? Like, that's the mentality of it. But again, now that I've read the lyrics and I've understood kind of a bit more about what he's trying to say and this is why I do this, because I wasn't crazy about the song first, but no, okay, I get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it makes sense to me. Now, with that being the original Chris Brown version of this song, other R&B artists across the internets and interwebs have taken it upon themselves to do their own version of this song. It's called the Residuals Challenge. Now, I took it upon myself to listen to just a handful of these different verses. And I'm not going to break down their individual lyrics. I'm just going to rate them on my scale from best to worst. So the artists in question who have done this, and this is, again, just the videos that I've watched. I've seen, dozens and dozens of different videos from all sorts of R&B artists, from underground to mainstream and everything in between. So I only selected a handful of my personal favorite people, and that's what I'm basing my ranking off of. So the artists in question, Mario, Jacob Lattimore, Trevor Jackson from Grownish, Avery Wilson, and Tank. Now, this is a very mixed group of R&B artists, and before I give my ranking, I do want to say that they all kind of have one thing in common, where they are all very traditional R&B musicians. When it comes to R&B nowadays, you think of, artists who kind of try to go in different directions. They want to be different so badly that they don't want to make it obvious that they're still trying to hold on to what R&B used to be. And R&B used to be just that, rhythm and blues. It was soulful. It was smooth. It was angelic. It was sexy. It was It was different from hip hop because it wasn't as aggressive. It was different from rap because it wasn't so fast paced. It was different from pop because you didn't hear it all the time and it didn't always make you want to dance. It was different from jazz because there was a little bit more groove into it, but it wasn't so instrument heavy. R&B was its very own unique category, its own unique genre, and it's been like that for decades, centuries, if you even want to go that far. And I feel like lately or recently, R&B artists now are trying so hard to just be different that they've lost the plot. They aren't R&B anymore, which there isn't anything wrong with alternative R&B or, pop R&B or anything like that. But when you talk about R&B, you have to talk about it in its traditional form. And I feel like these particular artists, the ones that I just named, have maintained that in their singing career. Now, I know when you think of Jacob Lattimore, you're not thinking R&B. You're thinking the nigga from The Chi or from House Party or anything else. He's more of an actor than he is a singer. But you forget that Jacob Lattimore can sing his ass off. And when you think of Trevor Jackson, you may think about Grownish or Blackish or whatever-ish show that he's been on. But you forget that he can sing too. So they really stick to that vocally. I think they all fit into the category of traditional R&B because you don't really get it as often as you should or as often as you used to. And then, of course, we all know Tank. We all know Mario. And if you don't know who Avery Wilson is, I wouldn't consider him to still be underground, but he's boosting himself up in popularity. And he can sing his ass off, too. So, again, I'm not diving into their particular lyrics into the channel because I didn't realize it until halfway through that they're compiling their own verses within the Residuals challenge. So if I had a verse on Residuals, this is what it would sound like type shit. So with that being said, my ranking from best to worst, it's a tie between Jacob Lattimore and Mario for first place. And I put the two of them side by side. Ironically, not even ironically, coincidentally would probably be a better word to describe, because Mario is such a big name in R&B. He still very much makes traditional R&B music, and he's, well-known, well-rounded, well-versed. And then you get Jacob Lattimore, who, again, is primarily an actor. You see him in The Chi. You see him in House Party. You see him doing all this stuff on the big screen that you forget that he can really sing. And if he wanted to, he could blow these other people out the water. And in my personal opinion, I believe that he has. I believe that he has done a better job than Tank. And as bad as that is to believe, he's not even my number 2 on this list. So if you get a chance to go back and listen to Jacob Lattimore's Residuals Challenge or Mario's Residuals Challenge, you can kind of see why I put the two of them on that same. That's why it's a tie between those two. My second place would be Trevor Jackson. He has a phenomenal voice. I loved his verse in it as well. He has the panache, I want to say, is a weird word, but he has that extra oomph that gives him, the confidence boost and the glorified ego boost that gets him in the door to show his ass off every once in a while. He did it before with the water challenge by Tyler, and everyone made fun of him for it, but it was actually really, really good. So yeah, he may do a little too much sometimes, but that doesn't mean he can't back it up. He doesn't bite off more than he can chew. He can back up his words with the expectations, and he meets it every single time. My third place is Avery Wilson. The only reason why Avery Wilson was in third was because he did his completely a cappella. It wasn't pre-recorded and edited like everyone else's was. And you can tell because they're in studio settings, right? And so his was like very raw dogged out, very much, here's my phone, there's the instrumental, here's me singing. His voice is beautiful. It's very angelic. It is very raw, crisp, clean. And it had a lot of emotion pervade in his actual verse. But the reason why he's third is because, and maybe if it was pre-recorded and edited, it would have been up a little bit higher. But those raw vocals are really kind of hard to beat when it comes to pre-recorded and edited vocals. And that's not even a dig on him, because at least he did better than Tank. Now, Tank is fourth on my list at the bottom of the chart. I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it, because his was actually the first video that I watched. When I watched all of these videos, his was the first one that I found that I was like, okay, let's see what Tank's talking about. And it just didn't hit the way that I wanted it to. And the crazy thing is, Tank had such a run like he's always had a career. He's always been moving and grooving, pushing and pulling and shoveling. He's always done things like that. But for some reason, this video just didn't hit the way that it should have. Because when you think back to a couple of years ago when he had like Win We and everyone was doing the Win We challenge and he was coming out like that and it was crazy. It was, you know what I mean? But I can't, this was a miss. It was a miss. And I don't know why. Because it's not that he can't sing. It's not like the lyrics weren't good. It's not like he didn't try. It just didn't. And maybe it was just because of who I paired him up with, the other gentleman on the roster. I don't know. But for whatever reason, it just didn't do it for me. It didn't tickle my fancy. I wasn't crazy about it. It wasn't there. I don't know why. It just wasn't. Yeah, and like I said, there's dozens more of these kind of circulating the internet. I've seen women start to come out with their own versions of the Residuals challenge, which I didn't get a chance to get into, unfortunately. The research on this episode was done a couple of weeks ago, and I'm just not getting to it. But there are other versions of it out there. I believe Chloe Bailey has one, and they're still popping up. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think R. Kelly goofy ass was trying to do him one in jail, and it's just like, bro, give it a rest. You know what I mean? Him and Tory Lanez need to get the fuck out of somewhere, because why are y'all in jail trying to still make music? This isn't the early 2000s where it was cool to be in jail and still put out music and then have people anticipating your music drop or whatever the hell else. You went to jail. Lord, R. Kelly went to jail for some R. Kelly shit. And I don't want to hear your Residuals challenge from your prison cell. I don't care. And here's the thing. And I ain't even trying to talk about R. Kelly like that. But the fact that his crimes have finally caught up to him, the same way P. Diddy's crimes caught up with him, you can't just sing your way out of this situation. This isn't the Boondocks. We're not about to let it slide that this shit just keeps going on. You have to lay in the bed that you've made for yourself. And I'm not trying to hear you sing. I don't care. Like, I'm not even trying to be funny. Like, I don't even want to know what you're talking about. Because what have you had to experience? He's been in jail for, over a year, almost 2. I don't know how long he's been in jail for. He's been in jail for a while. You don't know what's going on out here, dude. You don't need to know what's going on out here. You're incarcerated. So why are you worried about a Residuals challenge when you should be worried about not dropping? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not even finna go there. I'm really not. I'm trying not to. I'm trying to keep it together. But damn it, sir, get your priorities in order. Something about that is just not right to me. So I didn't even bother listening to the R. Kelly one because I wasn't going to entertain that bullshit. But I digress. So that is Residuals by Chris Brown. This is a really short one this morning. And again, I wasn't really crazy about the song, but now that I've kind of done the research, I've analyzed it, I've discussed it in great detail, I get it. I don't think that's the same reason why other people like it. And maybe it is, maybe it's not. But that's why I like it, or I can appreciate it a little bit better. And again, I'm not a super duper like diehard crazy Chris Brown fan. I know his fan base is very, very strong, sturdy, and devoted. The Chris Brown fan base is unbreakable. And despite all of his scandals, despite everything that he's experienced in the media, and again, I'm not advocating for nothing, because I've heard some things about this nigga Chris Brown that I just can't get past. And it's just like, what? Just despite that he can make great music, despite the fact that he's a phenomenal performer, despite the fact that he is able to entertain and wow the world for 20 years, he still has a lot of allegations and accusations against him that pin him as a villain. You're not going to sweep under the rug all of these domestic violence charges, these restraining orders, these arrest records, these drug use allegations, these colorist allegations, everything that this nigga has built up over the course of 20 years. And yeah, you can argue, he was just a teenage boy when he got into the music industry. He's probably been abused by people. He's probably been taken advantage of, blah, blah, blah. All of that is true. All of that is valid. All of that is worth noting. And all of that is worth keeping in consideration. But nothing excuses your disruptive and violent and borderline negligent behavior just because you've had a fucked up life. People get better from those experiences, not worse. And it's all about self-discipline. So if you can't do that, then there's no one else to blame but you for that situation. And again, it's all alleged. I'm not validating anything. I'm also not letting nothing go past my own personal radar. I mean, I wouldn't want to be alone in the room with this nigga, but I know plenty of women who would, and that's okay. I'm unbiased either way it goes, because again, I'm mostly here to talk about music, but I would be naive if I didn't talk about everything else that kind of came with that in between. So that's just me. But I appreciate those who stopped by to listen to me ramble and rant this morning. Sorry for the long delay. Unfortunately, this will not be available on the actual podcast streaming, so you'll only get this episode via video, but I am working on getting my YouTube channel up, so hopefully those will be available soon, as long as the ones that I did a couple of weeks ago, and any more that I'm going to be doing in the future. So with that being said, thank you for stopping by. I absolutely appreciate it, and until next time, I will speak to you all later.